meeting to order. Chief, would you lead us on the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jason, would you lead us in prayer tonight, please? Dear Lord, please watch over the city of Monte Vista as we go forward in life, and watch over us tonight so that we make good decisions, that your will may be done. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Need a roll call, please?
Counselor Locke?
Here.
Counselor Lorenz?
Here.
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala will be about 10 to 15 minutes late, and Counselor Foster has resigned, which is in your packet for later discussion, but a quorum is declared.
All right. Do we have any modifications to the agenda?
Yes, sir, we do have one modification to the agenda. We'd like to remove J1, Resolution 2022-11, authorizing participation in the Rural Jump Start Program.
We wish to remove it, you said?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the modifications to the agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the modifications to the agenda on J of resolutions, removing. I scribbled it out, so I can't read it.
Resolution 2022-11.
A resolution 2022-11 authorizing participation in the Rural Jumpstart Program. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Locke?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to remove J1.
Okay. Review and approval of accounts payable.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda, which is of the minutes of regular meeting from November 3rd, 2022. Review and approval of accounts payable.
And the Stampede parking lot.
Yes.
And the Stampede parking lot. Okay.
Unless you want to pull that off for further discussion, but I think it's
Solid.
pretty explicit, so.
So is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Locke?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the consent agenda.
All right, proclamations, communications, and appointments. Resignation of Councilor Larry Foster.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, we received a letter of resignation from Councilman Foster effective midnight November the 14th. And he is out of the country right now, so we still need to collect some of the city equipment that he has. You have a couple of different options. One is by charter, Mayor, you can just appoint someone, or you can all ask for letters of intent. You can interview candidates. We can send out a few questions to go with the letter of intent. It's pretty open as far as whatever you would like to do. Or you can leave it vacant until the next election.
I personally think we should go out with letters of intent, because there's no one in here to appoint. Bob, do you live in the city limits?
Thank you, Don.
What are your thoughts, Jason and Martha?
Yeah, let's just send out, see if we get some letters of interest and see what comes up.
If we get one, then we'll go according to plan. If we get more than one, then we'll do a little bit of an interview process. I believe that's what we should do.
When would you like those letters, I guess, to be returned? guess I'm gonna recommend, we've got Thanksgiving holiday, which kind of throws the calendar a little bit in flux, so I'm gonna recommend the second meeting in December.
That sounds fair to me. That works.
I was gonna recommend
That's
the second meeting in January just because Christmas just kind of runs together for a lot of people. But I guess if it's really important to them, they'll have them in by the second week in December. So, I mean, I can see the logic to both sides of that one. I'm okay with either way.
See what we get, and then we can decide, and then we could start the new year. If we appoint it on the second meeting in December, then start the new year with somebody new in place.
Yep. That's what I would say.
Councilman Sedala, we're discussing the resignation of council member,
Foster.
Mr. Foster.
So we discussed having letters of intent to the community, so we'll post it and then have them due by the second meet or the 15th of December.
Okay,
If we have one applicant, then we'll just review it. If we have more than one applicant, then we'll do a little interview process to see who's really interested. And if we have no applicants, then I guess I will shake the bushes and see who. Bob, want to move into city limits?
I do not. But thank you. I'm a business owner here.
Yeah.
doesn't count.
Right, thank you.
They need to be a resident within the city limits of Monte Vista.
Okay, so we will do that. We probably should have a motion on that so we can do it properly.
I don't think it needs a
No, we're just
motion.
Correct.
putting letters of intent. If we can accept them and reject them, whatever, we'll see what we get.
That works. All right, we will go to citizen comments and special presentations. Citizen comments. City Council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Please limit your comment to 3 minutes and we will not take any action at this meeting. Margot?
You guys are too funny.
We appreciate you, Margot.
We have
Yeah.
expectations.
Well, greetings, council, and everybody else here. Hi. I just have one thing that I wanted to say, and the gentleman is here.
Uh-oh.
I listened to the Bob Richards interview with George.
George?
Yes.
Yes?
Out at the Veterans Home on Sunday for Veterans Day. It was so moving and so good, and to think we have someone in our community who takes the time to do something that special. This gentleman is 101 years old, sharper than a tack.
Not me.
No, George. I mean, it was just a delight to listen to. And he had written a poem.
Yes.
Do you mind if I say something?
You may. I'm gonna come up there and talk
Okay.
about exactly this thing, so, but you go right ahead, sure.
George wrote a poem. He was at Pearl Harbor when they were invaded, or bombed, whatever you want to say. But anyway, he was there and he wrote a poem, and he couldn't read it. I think because of the emotions is what I got.
Yes.
And so Bob read it, and I tell you, I'm the radio's here, and I'm like this, and I cried. But to think we have someone in our community who takes such pride in our little town to do the things that this gentleman does on a regular basis just gladdens my heart. Thank you.
Oh, shucks. Thank you.
Thank you, Margot. Anybody else for
Yes.
citizen
If I
comments?
may.
Come on up, Bob.
That was not a planned lead-in, I promise you. My name is Bob Richards. I own the 3 radio stations in town here, and I did want to come and talk to you about
George Blake. Meet George Blake, 101 years old today. He is a Pearl Harbor survivor and currently is a Home Lake resident. And George Blake is an American treasure. The interview that she referred to is online at 965thefoxfm.com. It's in bite-sized pieces. You can listen to it at your leisure. But there are very few things that I've done in my career where I was so moved that I felt like I had to take action. And this is one of those things. So George Blake in the interview talked about being a 19-year-old kid who had to go get his father's approval to go and serve the armed forces. He chose to go to Pearl Harbor and was there on that fateful day. And lost 4 friends who were attempting to put a machine gun up on top of a roof, and a Japanese Zero flew right into the top of the roof where they were attempting to put the machine gun up and killed all 4 of them. Many years later, he went back and attended a survivors celebration, for lack of a better term, and was so moved by what he saw that it moved him to write a poem. And it was so emotional for him, he couldn't read it and asked me to read it. I'd like to take the opportunity, sir, to read it to the council, if that's okay?
Yes, sir.
It's short, and so hopefully I won't go over my time. But it says, "Why you, not me? Out of the western sky they came, engines roaring, exhausts aflame. The sky was filled with attacking flights, strafing and bombing with all their might. It was Sunday morning and we were at rest, but when alerted, we did our best. And when the attackers did retreat, 3,500 casualties lay at our feet. Now, when with reverence I attend the December memorials once again, I gaze at the list of the young who died, and with pent emotions I have cried. The tears I shed upon my cheek pose the question whose answer I seek. Why you and not me?" Staff Sergeant George W. Blake, Harbor Defense, Pearl Harbor, U.S. Army. Well, I will tell you that the man is in amazing shape for 101 years old. He doesn't have a wheelchair. He's extremely articulate, has all his wits about him, cracks jokes like you can't believe. And when I was done with him, I spent 90 minutes with him. When I was done with him and after I read this poem, I thought to myself, this poem needs to be memorialized somehow, in my opinion. So I started to think about how we might do that and how the radio station could help do that. And there's a couple of things, my opinion, we could do. One of them would be to put it in our memorial park on a slab of stone of some kind. We could also perhaps put it over at Home Lake. I will tell you this, I think that his 102nd birthday is January 29th. What a great birthday present for this man, for us to at least be able to tell him. We're going to memorialize this poem in some way, shape, or form, be it at Home Lake or somewhere. So that's about the extent of which my thoughts have gone. I sort of come to you to start a conversation, if anything, if nothing else, and I do think that I have the wherewithal in the radio station to raise funds if we need to make this happen. I was told by a client of mine, Polished Edge is a client of mine, they're now doing stone carvings, headstones, and those kinds of things. Maybe we could reach out to them and have them be a part of this. That's really all I have, is to just sort of see if we can't get the ball rolling, see what the appetite is to maybe have the town involved, and then if not, maybe I just do something with Home Lake.
Could we look in and see how much something like that would cost? And Rob, do we have a place we can put it in the park?
There's plenty of room for the park. I also had during the Veterans Day, had a request to add a stone for the National Guard. I can get with John Glass and look at that, he's not one of the other stones for that park. I can at least ask if Bobby can forward me the poem.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
can have him, so
Sure.
he knows the words.
Yep.
I can at least get a cost.
If I can help at all, let me know. This is has become a passion of mine now to get this gentleman the due I think he deserves that to this point he hasn't necessarily received. And there's some urgency to doing that, I think. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that very much. Any other citizen comments? Okay, we'll go to scheduled appearances. In order to be included on this portion of the agenda, you have to file the appropriate paperwork with the city clerk no later than noon on Monday prior to the meeting. Elaine Madrill?
Hi, my name is Elaine Madrill, and I would want to see if you guys could take off the tap, or what is it, from my vacant house. Because we can't afford to be paying for that anymore.
So we put on the screen, yeah, so you could just kind of explain to council, what you have and what we're actually looking at, and that might help council make a decision.
Well, we have that house there that's full of junk. But we just can't afford to pay that water tap anymore. We're on fixed income and we just don't, there's no water running to it right now or anything. For years, it hasn't had water or anything. And I'm willing to pay to take that tap off or whatever I have to do to,
So you live right there,
in the brown and white house, yeah. And we have it all connected as one yard.
so it's 1 yard with 2 addresses is what you're saying?
Well, actually, the taxes, it comes out as one full address, I guess. I'm not-
According to the assessors, it's one lot.
Yeah,
There are 2 taps on the property. So at one time, the blue structure and the other, two-tone was, there's 2 separate homes there. I don't know why there was 2 taps, but there are 2 separate taps and 2 separate accounts.
How much is just to have the tap every month? How much is that?
70, almost $80, I think is what you
That's
said.
with water and sewer.
Yeah, water, sewer, everything, a month. Plus I have to pay for the one in our property. Yeah, it's
And it
getting hard.
includes the mosquito control and the
Streetlights.
street light and
I'm sorry, what did you say?
it includes the mosquito control district or mosquito control, pest control fund that the city collects, as well as then the street light. And so Rob is prepared to give you guys a little bit of what our ordinance says in regards to this. And you guys can make an exception if you'd like and have it disconnected. But the concern is if you remove the meter, then it's $4,500 if anyone ever wants to replace that meter.
That was my question.
So 45 to remove and then 45 to replace when the time, if somebody.
No, it's just the cost to remove it, which she has the option of hiring a plumber to go out and do that himself, or she can hire the city to do that. And we charge labor and time, or labor and equipment. And so Rob can explain all of that. But Elaine has assured us that she does not have any desire to have running water in that home any longer, and that it
Hasn't
is
been.
strictly used for storage.
Yeah.
How long has that house been vacant?
Oof. 10 years? And I had asked that when we first didn't want anyone to live there to take it off, but they said they couldn't, so. But now, like, we're in a fixed income, we can't have
Just
that tap there.
just curious, could that place be an asset to you? Like, other than just cutting it off, can you do something with it and like rent it to somebody, or
No, oh, no.
no?
That
Is
house
it bad?
Yeah, and it doesn't have a foundation or anything, so,
Okay.
no, I wouldn't do that to
Okay.
anybody.
Just was wondering. Don't know about the structure of the house at all. So.
Yeah,
So it doesn't have a foundation, it doesn't have,
nope,
That looks like one of them old Adobe homes.
it is.
Rob, would you give us some information, please?
So there's a couple of things. I sent you an email, Nita. If you would pull up the council, I don't know if you can pull that up on the thing.
You want this up on the screen?
Yeah, if you could, it just makes it easier. I should have one that's printed out. So the issue is in our code, section Article 10-2-30, I believe it is. But it basically states that as long as there's a structure on the property, they're not allowed to disconnect. So Nita's got a hard copy of that. So it's about halfway down. So that's a problem. But in past, city councils have had the opportunity and have made those adjustments and exemptions to go ahead and take away. I will just say, just as the representative for the water and sewer system, it is a lost revenue that city council will take if you do choose to allow it. But under these circumstances, that is completely up to you. She stated that the house is unlivable. They have a house right next door. The assessors, it's not two separate properties. It is one property under the assessor. So if, at best, it would be considered an accessory dwelling unit. If they did want to take the money and go, they could try to fix it up with some of the Adobe homes. Once they start deteriorating, you can't save them.
Yep.
So, my understanding is the couple has paid the liens up through 2021 at the clerk and recorder or treasury, wherever those are paid at the county. There is still 2022 bills that are outstanding. But like I said, that's up to city council what you want to do with it. But the code does say specifically, as long as the structure remains, they're not supposed to abandon services. I think this could be a hardship, and as such, it would be up to the council's discretion to approve a one-time exemption.
Where it's a single property, is it allowable to have, that she still has her one tap, could she tie into that one tap to both structures?
She could.
Not saying she needs to, I'm just
Right,
saying.
no, she technically could under the one tap as long as she does it after the meter.
Yeah.
So I mean, in a temporary situation, you could technically run a garden hose from a faucet connection over to the house if it had a faucet connection, and you could back it home that way. So yes, and then the more permanent is actually dig a line underground. So on the abandonment, what we would do, or what her plumber would be required to do, is at the curb stop, they would have to dig down and make a physical disconnection of the water line. So there is no opportunity for them to use the water service. She would have to acknowledge that she loses the right to that tap, both water and sewer. So if they ever, or the next owner ever wanted to do something, they've lost that right. They would have to buy the tap at whatever that day's prices were. So if council wants to increase those, then that's what would happen.
And what are the tap fees? You said
Currently,
$4,500?
right now, it's $4,500 water and sewer. $1,500 for the sewer, and the rest would be the water taps.
And you'd cut out the sewer when you disconnect it as well?
We'd have to do both.
Yeah.
So the sewer, we would disconnect and then concrete the pipeline so it wouldn't get roots down into our main. Questions?
An idea of how much revenue each month that would be, because so like there's water, sewer, but you also said there was street lights, so she still will be incurring charges for those,
So it's
right?
But that would be on
roughly
her.
On her.
$71 a month.
$71 a month, so it's $71 a month total that we would.
We would lose that total each month.
I think this is something beyond, this case that we may be seeing more of in the future. We have a recession looming already here, depending on who you talk to. I think a lot of people are gonna start getting into some issues. This may be something we need to look at to see how far we're willing to go.
Just a question real quick. How long have you owned the property?
It's 40 years.
Right there.
Mhm.
And just a question, but thoughts of ever selling?
No.
No.
So literally what happens, codes like this are usually written to try to spur development. So what it is you don't want somebody to own a piece of property, do nothing with it, just kind of hold on to it, and just disconnect the tap and not have to pay the bills. But then when the conditions and the economy promotes use, then they could go ahead and rent it out or sell it and make a profit, and we just expend those times. This is a single property. I'm not sure the same could be said for that, because there would be options for them to use that structure as an accessory dwelling without the additional tap. We have those currently in the city.
Yeah, I guess from my standpoint, she has one tap, it's a single property, it's just a second building on it.
It's just like a storage shed, basically.
Basically, yes, sir.
I agree. Because if it's assessed as one property, then it's not a livable dwelling.
Does the assessor define it
It's a single.
as a single property, just as with this,
It doesn't even.
with a barn?
It doesn't even list it as that. So under the assessors, it's one reception number.
One dwelling?
Yeah, it's just one property. So, it would be, the accessory dwellings are no different, whether it's the blue house or storage shed. It doesn't hold any different value to the assessor. They just look at the square footage.
Okay.
And ma'am, I'm not saying you do this, but what would happen, what would if we came back and you had moved somebody in without hooking up water? I'm not saying you would, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking down the road for other issues
So-
like this.
It's illegal to occupy a house without water and sewer.
Okay.
So if we were to find say garden hose this time of year strung across the back feed, then we could cite them for a municipal violation.
Okay, very good.
And you said everything's been paid up to
2022, and I guess something for you to discuss is make sure that the city's made whole up to the point of disconnect, and then pay the disconnect fee, and that's up to her. We would charge anywhere from $500 to $750, $750 being the worst case scenario, and then she can choose if she has a plumber or somebody she wants to do it. But we have to see the physical disconnect.
That's just what I was gonna ask.
We have to actually see it.
And how do I go about have you guys do it if
Just
it's
say do it.
do it? Do it if it's okay with you guys.
We would require you to make payment first, and then we'd go.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
So you're saying the fees haven't been paid in 2022?
As far as I know, there's outstanding, the thing that I have from Cassell shows that there's an $895 balance.
Oh, yeah.
still.
Right.
But the liens that have been submitted to the county, my understanding those have been paid, and that came from Michelle this week. So the only thing that I know that would be outstanding would be the billing for 2022.
Would be the what?
Billing for 2022?
And that's $895?
Yes, ma'am. I believe that is correct.
Which I didn't even know I had that one.
894.86 is the current balance.
So I'd make a motion to make a exception in this case and disconnect the tap, provided that all outstanding fees are paid, and if you have the city do the disconnect, that's paid in full up front.
Okay.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to make an exception. Back to getting current with the bill and then paying the city up front for the disconnect. Is there any more discussion? Anita?
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to allow for disconnect at 642 Harrison on the second water tap.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you for coming in, Ms.
All
Lindgren.
right.
Licensed liquor renewals, transfer of a liquor license from Lolly House LLC to Dean and Decker Inc., DBA Quincy's.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You will need to recess as City Council and reconvene as the Liquor Authority Board.
So we will recess as city council and convene as the licensing and liquor board.
So before you this evening is a application for Quincy's. It has been currently being ran by the Lolly House LLC. The owners who are out of Salida are going to continue owning the building, but they are going to lease it to Dean and Decker Inc. There is not going to be any change in the building nor change in storage in the building, but you as the Liquor Authority Board have to approve the transfer of liquor license. Quincy's has not had any violations in the last year. They're up to date on all of their liquor licensing through the state and through the city.
Does Dean and Decker have to submit a liquor license?
Yes, and I did include part of that in your packet, and I have this completed and ready to go to the state once if council chooses to approve it.
And there were no problems in the application, everything's in order.
Everything's in order. I have a copy of their lease agreement on the building and the lease agreement for the business.
I think it's been, I have no problems. I would make a motion to transfer that liquor license from the Lolly House LLC to Dean and Decker, DBA Quincy's.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to transfer the liquor license from Lolly House LLC to Dean and Decker Inc., DBA Quincy's. Is there any more discussion? So as a liquor board, Unita?
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the transfer of liquor license from Lolly House LLC to Dean and Decker Incorporated, doing business as Quincy's. Thank you.
Okay, I'll close the liquor board. Go back into council. That was interesting. All right, ordinances, second and final reading of ordinance 914, adopting the budget and appropriation sums of money for the city of Monte Vista, Colorado for the calendar year beginning January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023.
Mayor, council, I'll read the ordinance. Whereas City Manager Jeanette Dennis Lonsberry has submitted a proposed budget to this governing body, and whereas upon public notice, said proposed budget is open for public inspection, and said notice advises that the proposed budget would be taken into consideration at the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Monte Vista. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Monte Vista, Colorado. Section 1, the 2023 budget for the City of Monte Vista as submitted and herein summarized by fund is approved and adopted. Section 2, the estimated revenues for each fund are the general fund, $4,341,069. Conservation Trust Fund, $45,000. Urban Renewal Authority, $9,200. Airport Grant, $426,457. Kids Connection Fund, $232,600. City Service Water Fund, $1,062,717. City Service Sewer Fund, $2,640,594. Capital Improvement Fund, which is a 1% tax, $634,846. Capital Project Fund, $151,216. 1 cent Sales Tax Fund, which is another 1% tax, $633,592. For a total revenue of $10,177,291. Section 3, the following sums are hereby appropriated for each fund. General Fund, $4,339,972. Conservation Trust Fund, $45,000. Urban Renewal Authority, $9,200. Airport Grant, $426,457. Kids Connection Fund, $228,085. City Service Water Fund, $1,198,622. City Service Sewer Fund, $2,536,238. Capital Improvement Fund, the 1% tax, $503,044. Capital Project Fund, $150,000. 1 cent Sales Tax Fund, another 1%, $633,592. For total expenditures of $10,070,210. The City Council finds that this ordinance is necessary to the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, and safety, and shall take effect and be enforced from and after 30 days after the final publication of this ordinance. And I would ask that you pass the second and final reading.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 914, adopting a budget for the 2023 fiscal year on second and final reading.
Moved
Seconded.
and
you,
seconded
council.
to approve Ordinance 914, adopting the budget and appropriations for sums of money for the City of Monte Vista, Colorado for the calendar year beginning January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Locke?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 914 for the 2023 budget on second and final reading.
Thank you. Second and final reading of ordinance 916, an ordinance of the City of Monte Vista, Colorado, repealing and reenacting Chapter 7, Vehicles and Traffic of the Monte Vista Municipal Code.
That's you.
Want me to take that?
Yes.
He's not even taking a book with him. He's got it memorized.
Ordinance 916 simply brings the model traffic code that you adopted last time into the municipal code. And really, I don't know whether you want me to read the whole ordinance or do you want to just let me give a summary of it. So it reflects the fact that we have passed the MTC and the pursuant to Title 31, Article 16, Parts 1 and 2, is hereby adopted by reference Articles 1 and 2, inclusive of the 2020 edition of the Model Traffic Code, as therein amended, promulgated, and published by the Colorado Department of Transportation, Safety, and Traffic Engineering Branch, and so forth. 3 copies of the traffic code are on file in the office of the city clerk, may be inspected during regular business hours, and so forth. So, and it has the violations in there. Violations are divided between traffic offenses and traffic infractions. The penalties are set forth, and this is sort of the final act in the adoption of the model traffic code.
I would motion to approve the second and final reading of ordinance 916, an ordinance of the city of Monte Vista, Colorado, repealing and reenacting chapter 7, vehicles and traffic of the Monte Vista Municipal Code.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve on second and final reading of ordinance 916, an ordinance of the city of Monte Vista, Colorado, repealing and reenacting chapter 7, vehicles and traffic in the Monte Vista Municipal Code. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Locke?
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segula?
Aye.
Mayor Becker?
Aye.
Motion carries to approve ordinance 916 on second and final reading, adopting the model traffic code ordinance.
Okay, contracts, agreements, and leases. Discussion on Valley 3 Theater.
Good evening, council. So at the last meeting, you heard the presentation, a presentation regarding the Valley 3 Theater, and recognize that the lady, Katie Smith, was working off of the wrong RFP. So in visiting with her, she needs until at least the middle of December because of her current job of training these young people in dancing, and so they're getting ready for their big Christmas program. So you all can decide to either wait until you receive her proposal. We can send this back out for proposal and give a little bit more time for people to put together a proposal. Or you can accept what you've already heard.
We give more time to, or put it out again, that'll also give her that time as well, right, to present for the correct RFP.
That is correct.
And how much time did you, to the middle of January she needs?
December?
Yeah, she needs until the middle of December. So she needs about another month. But if we open this back up, I'm gonna ask that you guys give more like a 60 to 90 day window, unless you want to make revisions to the RFP, and maybe we don't. You can take back some of the requirements. You know, we were pretty stringent on what we wanted for financial information and a business plan that explained the marketing and what they saw as far as the success of the facility. And I just think that we were rushed the first go-around. And there is no hurry as far as, the current volunteers that are taking care of it are, still running the theater as they have and willing to do so.
And so you're suggesting 90 days from now?
Mhm.
I have a question on that grant we had applied for the theater.
Mhm.
I don't remember what it was called,
The Ready Grant?
the Ready Grant, to go in and do the study.
Mhm.
Is it still available, or we've already, would that be beneficial? I'm asking, would that be beneficial to assist in the RFP to help these?
Well, what we had asked, what we were going to ask in that, with using that grant, was to do more of an economic assessment as far as what the theater could be, kind of a whole business strategy. If we do that, that probably pushes this RFP out another 6 months, because we've got to give the time for to post the RFP for the Ready Grant, because that also then encompasses Sky High Park and the campus out there. And so that's gonna take 4 or 5 months, plus a month on the front end to go ahead and ask for the proposals, review the proposals, issue the contract. And then we'll have to give them at least probably 5 months in order to get that work done. So we're looking at summer.
And that really doesn't get us any closer to having a new owner going in there and doing something,
Sooner than later, no.
doing something, spectacular.
Mhm. Okay.
And then, wasn't there a couple people here too during that meeting that was thinking about a proposal?
Yes.
So, I don't know, I think it might be good to put out that RFP again.
Just give some more time. I don't think we need to go through the whole Ready Grant process, but to give some more time, because that puts us in February, right? If we did the 90 days, that gives the lady that's already given us a proposal more time, and allows other people to jump in there too if they want to.
Yes, so I'd say we'd be looking at the first part of March.
I honestly don't see a problem with it,
That's plenty of time for summer season.
especially if we're gonna hopefully get the right thing in there.
So can I have a motion that extends, that asks to put it back out as an RFP, extending it at least 90 days, and it can be reviewed maybe the first meeting in March?
Make a motion to put it back out to RFP for the use of the Valley 3 Theater, putting the deadline for submissions on March 1st.
Second. Great.
Third.
It's been moved and seconded to put the Valley 3 Theater back out for RFP, and we'll make sure that we have the correct RFP out there.
Thank
Is there
you.
any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Lorenz,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segura,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to put out the RFP for the Valley 3 Theater for an additional 90 days with the deadline of March 1st.
Okay. I'm giving the Kids Connection report.
It's just on the kids, well.
You look rested.
All right, thank you. So we're into staff proposals.
Okay.
And updates.
Yes.
So Anika could not be here today, and I excused her, and so I asked her though to give us a report. So she says, since my last update, Kids Connection has been very busy. We are entering the last half of the second quarter of school and about to take Christmas break. We are very busy with kids and all that comes along with that. I've been busy meeting with the school district, BPEG/PBIS group,
Ooh.
sharing ideas and strategies on how to better serve our youth and support them positively in any manner. Our purple room, which is for K through second grade staff, have begun their voyage as bus monitors for Marsh Elementary. These employees ride the bus every day after school to help the bus driver. They have close to 40 kids that ride the bus, and on many days, just about half of them are at Kids Connection. We're very thankful that we are there and able to help the school in any way possible. So apparently there was some unruly kids on the bus just for that short distance from Marsh to Kids Connection, and the bus driver needed help. And since staff is sitting there waiting for them to arrive anyway, we're going over to help support and keep the kids under better guidance. The Kids Connection received a $100 donation from the Monte Vista Rotary Club on November the 10th. It was a pleasure to present to the club and get them up to speed on all the things within Kids Connection. The donation will be used to purchase additional learning games for the holiday break. Rotary Club also mentioned speaking to their board about help funding for the new air conditioning units, so we may have their support on that project. And then upcoming, and this is what I want you guys to all put on your calendars, November the 30th, Kids Connection will be hosting an open house. It'll be from 5 to 6 p.m. When many organizations celebrate a normal 5-year blocks of time, we aim to be different at Kids Connection. We'll be celebrating being open in full operation in the building for 6 years. While we are on the sentimental train, we are building we had the building dedicated to the late Robert L. Brining 1 year later, making the 5-year anniversary of the dedication on December the 1st. So please come and join us from 5 to 6 on November 30th. We're using this also as not only as a little birthday anniversary celebration, but also as kind of year-end giving opportunities. And we can place that money then towards the air conditioning that we're trying to get in place by summer. And so there's 2 different donations you could make. It could be one, just a flat out donation, and it can go through the Monte Vista Community Fund, and so you can get an enterprise fund tax credit if the recipient or if the person so wishes, or they can also make it use it as a child care tax credit on their Colorado income tax. So it's kind of a gentle, here's some cookies and ice cream and show us the money, so to speak. So she was excited to be doing that. Okay, any other questions for Kids Connection? Okay, good. Thank you.
Good job, Unica.
Yes. Well, and I will give a shout out and a thank you to the Nazarene Thrift Store. They received a large conference room table, and they called us to say, we will donate it to the city if you guys can use it. And Anika could use it at Kids Connection. So Public Works got it delivered over to them, and they're using it as a giant table for homework, after school stuff. So
Cool.
yeah, so thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Gigi. Sky High Park.
Good evening, Council. It's been a while since I've been here. We have just been staying very busy out at Sky High. So I have a few months that I can go back on. September was a little slower for us. We only had 12 events, but we had the basketball courts up for 2 weeks. We had contractors on site finishing up some of our AV equipment and that kind of stuff. So we didn't have quite as many events in September. October was a little bit more busier for us. We had 19 events. So far for November, we also have 19 events scheduled. But again, we keep getting more and more every day. We just finished up with the FFA Leadership Conference. So they had 150 high school students from all over the valley, as well as La Vita, Lamar, and a few other places. So it was really great to be able to showcase Sky High and Monte Vista to some of those young leaders coming up throughout high school. So far in December, we have 20 events jam-packed into the first 2.5 weeks of December. So we're going to be very, very busy, but we're really excited to have all the holiday parties for the different companies coming up. Some of our public events that are coming up are going to be the Holiday Bazaar put on by the Chamber of Commerce, which is going to be December 2nd and 3rd. They have Santa Claus coming to do pictures with the kids as well as animals. They'll have carriage rides out there in the arena, so they're trying to do a big family event as well as get some of your Christmas shopping done and all kinds of fun stuff. The next public event that we'll have is Adams State president or interim president will be hosting county listening sessions, and the Rio Grande session will be December 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. So they're trying to see what the community feels that Adams State could be helping out with. And
What was the date again?
December 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. out at Sky High. And then we are starting the 2023 year strong. We already have 60 events booked for the 2023 year, and we're getting more and more every day. We have lots of weddings, lots of quinceañeras, lots of annual meetings, and lots of our annual events. So we're getting more and more requests all the time. So when we're not doing events, we've had a lot of fun stuff going on as well. If you haven't been by, drive by. Alcon is working on our picnic pavilion on the west side of the building. They've got most of the metal structure up, so they're getting that finished here shortly. We're a little bit behind on that schedule, but it shouldn't be too much longer before we have that finished and up and running. We were able to get the last restroom, the floor epoxied, so now they're all beautiful and pretty and easier to clean and maintain for us. We had our AV contractors on site, and we now have a fully functional permanent AV system, which now I just have to learn how to run. But it's all in and working great for us so far. We did have a new admin start at the beginning of November. So Victoria Trujillo is my new admin assistant and event coordinator out there. If you haven't met her, she is fantastic. She's doing great work, and I'm absolutely loving her, making my job just a little bit easier. And then a couple of the things that we are working on, I want to give a huge thank you to Chief. He was able to get us set up with Homeland Security to have a security evaluation and training hosted at Sky High. So they only do 6 of these every year, and we were chosen as one of the locations. So they will come out and do a free evaluation of Sky High and how to best secure it for different events. So we're really, really excited about that. Get us all going. We are currently working on a plan to probably 2 times a week is going to be my max that I can handle right now, but have a program where the community can come inside to the event center and walk or run or get some type of physical activity inside where it's a little bit warmer and they can still stay active. Right now I'm shooting on 2 days. If I can squeeze 3 in there, I'll try, but I'm really trying to at least give them 2 days a week that they can come over and hang out with us at Sky High. And then in December, we are starting work on the Sky High website. So we are doing a separate website for us that's a little bit more geared towards event centers and conference centers. And it'll have a public calendar. They'll list all of our public events, so anybody can go and take a look and see what's going on over there. So that was a lot in a little bit of time. Any questions?
That'll just list public events, not private events.
So it'll have it blocked off if the room is not available, and it'll say private event. If it is a public event, it'll have the name and the information available to anybody.
The indoor walking, I think it's funny because I was just thinking about that this week and wondering if Sky High would be a good place for that.
We're just trying to finalize some of the plans and how we can kind of accommodate that.
Will you be able to allow people to walk with their service dogs or service animals? They're not all dogs.
Service animals are allowed in the building.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
I don't have any. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Mr. Enderly, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Officially.
So yeah, I'm officially part of the city now. Work for you guys as a city planner. So with that, I've kind of started to set some priorities for my own little shop, which is, you know, me and me alone, which is great. But basically my priorities are to set up policies and procedures, kind of taking what we were doing before, because the job was spread out over multiple offices, and kind of consolidating it all in, and then reviewing our permit process on some of the items, just making sure that we're not missing steps in the procedure that should be done according to the code. Looking at that, and then also reviewing the code, trying to make sure that I understand what it currently is, and then make sure that it meets our needs for the future, and making any adjustments or suggesting adjustments to the Planning and Zoning Commission, which will eventually come to you guys. So really trying to get the processes down. I've had a couple stumbling blocks and some things that are supposed to be coming to you guys, but just learning all the policies and stuff that municipal government has that the Army didn't have. It's taken me a little bit of time to get all that figured out. So once I get done with that, I'm also completing the process of developing the 3-mile plan, which will go to Planning and Zoning Commission in December, and then December, and then it will come to you guys in January, as long as everything goes along like it should. And then we're also completing the process of getting the sign code to you guys. I just missed some steps along the way. It's already been through Planning and Zoning and approved to come to you guys. So it should be coming to you guys, I believe, at your next council meeting, as long as I can complete all the steps that are required. And that's really a lot of what I've got going on. It's been a busy whirlwind since I got back in the office, and I hope to slow down a little bit over the holidays. But other than that, that's all I have, unless you guys have questions for me.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Did you have a question?
I do have a question. And a citizen actually came to me the past couple of days, just asked me if window painting, and I know window painting is allowed, but can window painting be a sign? And I wasn't sure how to answer that. And so I just said, this is why we have staff. Please call Unita or Gigi and ask them. I said, we just went over the mural code. I know that a mural cannot be a sign. But I don't know about the whole window painting mural sign.
It's actually covered in the code.
It is covered in the
Yes.
code. Okay, is it allowed? Are they allowed? Can you window paint and put up
It
what
all
you're
depends
doing
on
and how much it is? And,
It's not an easy yes and no question.
oh, okay.
Like, I need to see their design, know how much percentage it covers, which windows are they wanting to cover on the building. Is it on a front facade or side facade? Like, there's a lot of questions that go into that. It's not a simple yes and no question.
Okay. Then I'm glad I.
So it's an evaluation.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they would come in and bring their permits in and fill it out, and we would look at their drawings and all that stuff, and that's how that would work.
So you have to get a permit before you window paint?
As long as it's considered a sign. So then that would come to me. That would come to the planning office.
Okay.
So yeah, and you guys should be seeing a new code for that, and you'll get very familiar with it when you read the new code. So if you guys don't
Well,
have
I'll
any
start
questions,
referring people to you too.
there you go. Okay, thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Did a
Thanks,
good job.
TJ.
Thank you.
Mr. Farish. Thought he was gonna bring that big old book up here.
Oh, maybe he is.
Yes. Dang it, Dale. We were gonna get out.
Bring all the stories.
Those are the Christmas cards you got.
Here, Merry Christmas. You know, the only interesting couple of tidbits, adding on to Bob's rendition there, I interviewed George either the same day or a day or two afterwards, or before, and he mentioned to me, he said he was walking down through there to basketball practice, I believe he was on the basketball team, and all of a sudden he heard this roar and of engines, aircraft engines. And he said these things were flying about treetop level, and he thought it was a drill. So he looks up there, and he's expecting to see a white star. Instead, he sees this great big red zero, and they start strafing runs there. And George, somehow he retrieved his old Springfield bolt-action rifle, and he says he got off a few shots. He said he doesn't think he did any damage, but it was a good gesture anyway. So that was pretty interesting talking to him about that. And I did that for the purpose of the Veterans Day address out there, and I'm just glad he was out there. The Munich court, yesterday, 36 cases, shoplifting, trespass, failure to provide proof of insurance on a lot of them, harassments, vandalism, dogs at large, dangerous dogs, careless driving, theft, assault, obstructing peace officer. That's kind of a smattering of what we've had out there. Guilty pleas on most of them. I think we had maybe one set for trial, and so a lot of no-shows too, so a lot of bench warrants were issued there. So that's kind of how that's going right now. The MTC, let's see.
I gave them each a copy to
You
look
gave each
at.
one of them a copy. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll take one here just to go over it with you. And George, these are yours.
Well, and those are just for your,
Just to
For
look
you
at.
to look
Yeah.
at tonight, yeah.
the rest of them go to George.
I think you're gonna get it back.
Oh, come on, I wanted to go out and write something up.
Cure insomnia.
So the way that this is organized, just so you know, we've got the ordinance on the inside cover here, and we've got the points. We've got the after the points, the equipment section. We've got the moving violations, the rights of way, etc., all the way through all these different moving violations, which is what you get most of the citations on. We've got a section of the penalties. Those penalties include your latest surcharges, $50 surcharges. Got a section on abandoned vehicles, section on the definitions, and the wrap up of this will be the traffic sign schedules. George says he's going to be out there at 3 o'clock in the morning counting every one of them. So good luck. So that's and we've sent the request off to CDOT for approval, waiting on that to come back. Been working on the final ordinance on the sign code, working with BJ Son, on incorporating the way it was set up with the mural ordinance was that it would be part of the sign code. So you got signs and murals. You got Division 1 being signs and Division 2 being murals. So I think that will probably be ready to go for your next meeting. And I'm beginning to work on a memo to the council explaining how state laws work with a home rule municipality. Sometimes that gets very confusing about the issues of preemption, what's preempted and what's not preempted. So I'm trying to work on that a little bit. There's some major cases that dealt with that, and I'm trying to break that down
and kind of show you what the courts have said about that to give you an idea. Tabor issues, how those work, things about your duties as local licensing authority and so forth. I thought the retreat was great. I thought that moderator we had, he had a lot of practical experience, and I got a lot out of it myself with understanding some of Rob's technical issues that he has to go through, and that's a big advantage to be with the staff like that. And you had kind of a full boat in attendance there, so that was certainly valuable to me. And along that line, the part that I was covering there about COMA, the open meetings law, and quasi-judicial actions versus legislative actions and so forth. It's a lot of the same thing that I do in the training sessions that I've been involved with doing, and I can take that to a further extent anytime the council wants it, because there's only a certain amount of time we could cover certain topics there, and you probably want to go into some of the things about Tabor later on, Cora, annexation, liquor licensing, and all that type of thing. And I kind of leave that time frame up to you, because I know you've been real busy lately, and it's getting to be the holidays right now, but sometime during the spring or sometime like that, we might want to have another session and go through all that other stuff too. So in the meantime, that's what I'll be working on. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gene. City manager. Right there. You can't be a Nika anymore.
I'm sorry, what?
You cannot be a Nika anymore.
Okay, I'm no longer a Nika. Put on my city manager hat. We'll be conducting recreation director interviews on Monday. So looking forward to that. I've invited 3 people outside of city staff to be a part of those interviews. So one is our superintendent, one is also with the school district but has worked in our recreation department, and a third one has active children within the program. So hoping to find the right person for us. Victor and I attended a documentary in Alamosa last week called A Decent Home. It was really quite interesting, and it evolved around mobile home parks that are being sold and then leaving no rights to the mobile home owners and renters. And so it was rather compelling, because one of the communities itself was in Aurora that they really hinged on. And the interaction of their city council with the developers, and mobile home parks really do have a purpose in a community as far as affordable housing for certain populations within your community. And so it was just kind of eye-opening, and so I don't know if Victor got a lot out of it or not, but there wasn't a lot of people that attended. But it just gave us pause to think the next time something like that, because Alamos is facing that right now, if it would impact our community in some fashion, to remember that for those residents, that is their home. And so I hope we don't have to address it. It got quite emotional in some of those city council meetings. I want to thank the Stampede Committee. They did a very nice thank you dinner for city council and city staff for their participation with Stampede this last year. It was a pretty big 100th celebration, and the city can be proud of being able to work with them on that. The Parade of Lights is December the 3rd, so we'll be doing the official switch on the new and the new Christmas lights and the old Christmas lights, and lighting up Full and Wider Park and the library in downtown. And Rob, I want to thank Rob and his staff. They are working extremely hard to get it done by that date and meet the community's expectations on it. And if we don't get it all done, it'll just keep adding through the season as we get up to the holiday itself. But when you end up with a couple of snow days thrown in there, it really throws off their schedule a little bit. So thanks, Rob. I know you guys are.
We're working at it. We don't have everything in yet either, so supply issues.
Supply issues.
So you are going to use the Happy Holiday sign then?
No.
Just on that side so Gigi can see it when she looks out her window.
That's right. The Employee Appreciation is going to be December the 14th, so you're all invited to lunch. It'll be from 11:30 to 1:30. We will be handing out some employee recognition items and patting everybody on the back, and we're having a catered lunch. I didn't want to do a potluck, and if we're appreciating the employees, we need to appreciate them. And that goes for you city council members as well, because we appreciate you. And I just want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. The office will be closed Thursday and Friday,
What was the time on?
11:30 to 1:30. And we'll advertise and let the public know that the office will be closed from that time.
All right.
Questions?
Thank you.
All righty, thank you.
Council committee, city commission, council reports. Councilor Locke, we'll start with you.
Okay. I have been trying all week how to make this more concise, and believe it or not, I actually have made this more concise, but it's still going to ramble a little bit. We have a lot of big things facing us. Wastewater treatment plant, roads, plumbing, all this stuff, big things. We can't fix today. We can't fix next year probably, but we can work towards that. I'm not saying that we should ignore those. And a life change that my husband and I just went through, we're finding a new direction. And I was able to notice one day that I could draw a parallel between what we were doing and in our town. Our house needs a new roof at some point, needs new windows at some point. We can't do that right now. But what we have been doing is little things along the way. And it's made an incredible difference in our house. We've redecorated a little bit. And it makes me feel good to walk in my home. I look around and I like it. I like just to sit there and look at it. That ties in with an apparent, and I think this is not exclusive to Monte Vista. There's an apathy here. There's a lot of Monte Vistans that don't want to go downtown and sit and look at it just because it's so pretty. And it needs to be so pretty. And these are little things that we can do, little things that we can do. I know that you're wanting to do the lights across Adams Street. That's so pretty. That's what we need. Can't do it now because there's snow there, but before the snow, there were a lot of leaves along the street. Rob, I know you are working and all your crew's working as hard as you can. I get that. But just having the street sweeper begin on some sort of regular basis, if only in the fall. I walk around town sometimes and pick up trash. I just do, and I get to the next trash can and I throw it away. But I'm careful about how I pick it up and what I pick up. When the leaves are there, and I might see something peeking out of the leaves, I don't know what's at the other end of it. I'm not picking it up. So, just the little bit that, oh, and I know a lot of people that walk around and pick up trash. So just that little bit of effort, the leaves we can count on every year. They're going to be there every year. Even if tomorrow, miraculously, we wake up and nobody litters ever again, those leaves are going to come. There's lots of little things that we can start doing. The Optimistics replaced most of the lighting on Adams Street. I don't want to sit here and call out business owners' names, but I am ticked off that you can't even flip on your ding-dang light switch. Those bulbs cost you $2 a year to run. They were put in, REC Cielo donated their time and their cherry picker and their labor to put the lights up. The Optimistics raised the funds to buy them. Turn them on. I'm speaking with Kenneth Michael last night, who took, I don't know, I'm sure if you haven't seen it, you should. There is a picture he took of the post office on a night a few years ago that is just absolutely breathtaking. It is gorgeous. All the lights are on. It just looks like it's from somewhere else. Now I find out, he tells me last night, I haven't gone and looked because I don't get out at night and go by the post office a lot, that not all the lights are working anymore. It doesn't look as nice anymore. That's a light bulb, people. I mean, I realize it's not like a soft white 60 watt. Those aren't even used anymore. But, so I realize it's an expensive light, but it's still a little thing in comparison to a roof and a windows. Moving my couch around and setting up a new plant stand was a new thing. Has made me very happy. It has taken away some apathy in my own attitude. I have been like, nothing can get out of place in that house now. I want to see us attend to some of these things that just make the place more attractive. I get that we have big projects that we have to do. I understand that. But those aren't going to happen quickly. What I'm talking about are things that can happen quickly. Again, I know the leaves, the snow, I don't expect that till spring, and I get it. And I'm not picking on you,
I get it.
okay? But there are just, maybe we could look to see if we can afford a couple more trash cans downtown. That might help. I don't know. Maybe we can go and look at, I know there are some business owners that have recently repainted their storefronts. Good on you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, with that said, I would like for council to get together, maybe with planning and zoning, and let's look at some of these little things and see what we can mark off the list quickly and easily. And let's just see if maybe, if we just give people somewhere pretty to be, give them a town that they can be proud of. Forget giving it to them. Get them involved. Give them a reason to get involved. Give them a reason to be non-apathetic. Give them a reason. I am so tired of hearing, 20 years ago the city stole $500 from me. I wasn't around 20 years ago. I didn't do it. Help me now. I don't care what happened 20 years ago. I don't care what happened last year. Help me now. Let's do it now. Even if it was my fault, tell me now. Let's see if we can fix it. Let's get that done. That being said, the building that a new corporation that Adam and I are part of just bought at the corner of Adams and 3rd is having the businesses there are having a holiday open house on December 3rd before the parade, before the tree lighting, starting about 3 o'clock. If you'll go into any of those businesses, I do not believe the water office is going to participate. But I think everybody else is planning to. When you go in, meet the new business owners, see what they're doing, talk to them, and you'll see in there some renderings of what is planned. We're not chained to it, but what is planned to make that building look better this summer. Because I did not want the citizens of Monte Vista to look at that building all winter long. We all know that we all know that we all know what we all know we're all doing. I did not want them looking at that building and going, oh, I know the people that just bought that. Look, they're not doing anything to that building either. They're not thinking it's wintertime and we can't. Can't really do that. But instead of getting upset at them for talking like that, I understand why they're talking like that. So we've had some architectural renderings done, not in great detail, but so that people can have this winter to go, hey, there's one building that's going to look nicer next summer. Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. You know, it's just going to look nicer. These murals are helping. Oh my goodness, they're just gorgeous. Those are things to be proud of. Let's look around at the things and stop kind of tenderfooting around all these little issues. And let's start calling out some building owners and saying, hey, your building looks like crap. Let's fix it. We'll help you fix it. I know I'm willing to. I'll go sweep, I'll go vacuum, I'll go paint. I'm not talking about spending lots of money. We don't have lots of money to spend. And what we do have to spend, we need to spend on big projects. But we can spend a little bit here and there. And we can all pitch in a little bit here and there. There's not a single person in this room that I don't think doesn't have at least an hour they can give. And I'm willing to do that. And I know every one of you are. And I hope that people on YouTube are saying, you know what, an hour a week, that's not so bad. Can you imagine what 4,000 people can do in an hour a week? That's incredible. So thank you for allowing me to ramble, and yes, I'm now out of air.
Thank you, Martha. Jason?
I'd just like to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with your families.
Amen. Victor?
The presentation Bob did earlier about Mr. Blake, you know, I spend my nights across the street over here behind Margot's house at the Legacy, helping out the people there. I get to talking with these elderly people out there, and they don't have a lot of people. They don't have friends. They don't have anybody to go visit them. I work there every other weekend, and they ask for me because I spend time with them, like a little bit of time with them, and I give them attention. I've had vets come into where I work over here and sat there and actually given them some time, you know, because I appreciate them. You know, like, I can't even express how much I appreciate them. But I've had them write me poems. You know what I mean? Like, sitting there with, you know, and one time I had this guy write me a poem, and I put it and I stuck it on my little corkboard on my station. And about a month ago, he came back in, you know, and I was like, oh, there's Paul. You know, I'm not sure if you guys know all the veterans out there, but I'm like, oh, there's Paul. So I went and I grabbed the poem he wrote me, and I went and I took it to him. I said, look at this. I still have it. He's like, oh, you still have it? Oh, man, his face lit up like this. And he was just like, man, it's like just a little bit of acknowledgement, like he said. You know what I mean? Like, man, it's the world to these people. And I just want to encourage you guys, you know, like, if you get a moment, go out to the Veteran Center. Man, these guys have been out there for years and years and years, and honestly, they have not talked to somebody outside those walls probably for a really long time. You know, so if you get the opportunity, take an hour, you know, and spend it with the veteran. So that's about it.
Thank you, Victor. Well, while we're on the kick of Veterans Day and World War II vets, for those of you who did not make it to the ceremony at Faith Hinckley Park, Gene Ferris did an amazing job. His presentation, absolutely, hands down, one of the best ones I've heard. Did a fantastic job, Gene. So kudos to you. That was awesome.
Thank you, sir.
I knew you did a lot of work to get that done, and it was really,
Pleasure
really
to do
good.
it for those veterans.
You know, and like everybody talks about, Mr. Blake, there's a guy who lives across the street from me who is 90-something, and he was headed into Pearl Harbor on the ship, and when that happened, that ship was told to turn around and get out of there. So he was one of very few that made it out of there. And he's a very interesting little gentleman too, still lives at home. City employees, I seen where some lady posted that somebody went and cleaned her sidewalk for her, an elderly lady, and she was so appreciative of that. So Rob, to you and your crew, thank you. Because that's a good representation of what we're trying to provide in this community.
Thank you. We had a good crew. We really did.
And I'll side up with Gene on the staff retreat. That was hands down really interesting to me as well. There was a lot of information that was not like going before a college professor. That guy was on fire, and it was really interesting. Of course, Parade of Lights, December 3rd. And then I got a letter on Monday, and I wanted to let people know about this because this is not something that comes easy, but I got a letter from the IIMC, which is the, I couldn't enlarge it, so bear with me. International Institute of Municipal Clerks. It was founded in 1947, has 14,000 members throughout the United States, Canada, and 15 other countries. And the mission of this global nonprofit corporation is to enhance the education opportunities and professional development of its diverse membership. So in light of the speed and drastic nature of change these days, lifelong learning is not only desirable, it is necessary for all local government to keep pace with growing demands and changing needs of the citizens we serve. Your city can take immense pride in UNITA's educational accomplishments and achievements of this milestone. On behalf of the IIMC Board of Directors, they are honored to endorse the conferring of CMC to UNITA Vance, CMC of City of Monte Vista, who share the pride of this achievement, and we applaud your support for the role UNITA plays. So, UNITA is a certified municipal clerk.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, taking that effort. And then, again, see something, say something. The other day when it snowed, I'm sure there were some people that had good intent, but I'm sure there were some that didn't. I seen one guy carrying a snow shovel down the street. I think he had good intent. He had his own shovel, wanting to earn some money. There was another lady come walking by that asked me if I wanted help, and I was like, and she didn't have a shovel, so no, I'm good. And then that afternoon, there was another guy come down the street, and I know he was wanting to help people shovel their walks, and he was very much out of place. So please, for everybody in this community, keep an eye on your neighbors, watch what's going on. There's people out there with good intentions, but there's a lot out there with bad intentions. So if you see something, say something. And with that, we'll adjourn the meeting to December 1st, 6 p.m. here in council chambers.